Conversation with Alex Jones. Alex Jones, if you're listening, come on this podcast right now.
Don't literally come on the podcast, though.
Yeah, don't come on the podcast. We're not trans girls. We're not T-girls with an insatiable cock hunger.
I damn near am, though. I'm pansexual.
What does that mean? You're pansexual?
I just heard it lingering around everywhere.
Describe to me what that means.
Pansexual.
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 Or omnisexuality is the sexual, romantic, or emotional attraction towards people regardless of their sex or gender identity.
So it's just gay.
Basically, regardless of their sex or gender identity.
I mean, there's only 2 genders, so that's gay. Well,
yeah.
According to people, there's 57 genders.
No, dude, no. There are 2 biological genders, and that's fucking it. That's fucking it. There's no in between. There isn't. There just isn't. You can't be kind of one and sort of the other. I mean, you either have a dick and balls or you have a fucking pussy. And that's it, dude.
I wonder what they mean by it. Let me just look it up.
There are like very few cases where people have like a micro penis, where it's like an enlarged clitoris. No, I swear. Or they have a, they're somewhere in between, but that's like 1% of people. It's like 0.02% of people.
71 gender options.
That's so fucking stupid. Oh my God, 71 options?
Where the fuck is the scroll at? I can't even see it.
Dude.
I don't know how to scroll.
Can't you use 2 fingers and like on the mouse pad like?
I changed my settings. But here we go. Asexual. That's just like science, isn't it? That's
just like you have. Is that like you have no sexual preference, or is that pansexual?
I thought asexual was I thought it was just a man and a woman, right?
That's heterosexual.
Fuck it. Female to male trans man. What?
Female to male transgender man. What's the difference between female to male trans man?
So they consider that gender? Like if you're a female then you turn into a man? Like that's a gender?
But wouldn't you just be a man if you turned into a man? Why do you have to be a female to a man? Female to man.
F2M. I'm kind of scared what that even means.
It's probably female to man.
Female assigned at birth.
What?
How are you assigned a female?
Or biological female who self-identifies as male.
This
Gender
could be
neutral.
a gender too, though.
I know what that is. Being gender neutral.
Hermaphrodite. What is that again?
Hermaphrodite. Both. You have both sexes. I think. I take back what I said about there being 2 biological genders. There's 2 biological sexes.
Yeah.
Because gender has to do with identity, but sex has to do with biology.
Oh, now it makes a little more sense.
I think I was wrong there. I retract my statement. But there are you're either a man or a woman, but you can identify as any of these.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because there's people who are identifying as pedosexuals. Have you heard about that?
I can imagine what it is. They're just like attracted to little kids. That's just the way that I am.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're a pedophile, is what that means.
Pedosexual.
A pedosexual. It's so
polygender. You can be multiple. 2-person.
2-spirit person. What does that mean, dude?
And they have woman at the bottom.
Just a woman, man, woman. The list of the 50 previous gender options: agender, adrenine, androgynous, bigender, cis female, cis male, cis man, cis woman.
What does this even mean?
Cis means you are attracted to somebody of the opposite sex. So it's heterosexual.
I don't even care about that definition.
Female to male.
So that's what they mean when they're like, "Hey, sis," I'm like, because she's a female, so you're.
I don't know. I've never heard that used before, but I would hope they're not talking about that.
Pangender. Why is there so many damn trans? There's just a trans person. What's the difference between a trans male and a man?
A trans male and a trans man. I don't fucking know. I don't know. What website is this? Telegraph.co.uk.
And this was in 2014, so I can't even imagine.
Oh my god.
The way Twitter is nowadays.
Oh my.
All of these are from 2014.
Gender. Let's look up the definition of gender on Wikipedia really quick. Just to. You see it right there?
Oh.
Let's just see what it
WikiHow.
says. Oh my god, it's so small. What's it say? The fucking Olympics. Gender is the range of characteristics pertaining to and differentiating between masculinity and femininity.
Depending on the context, though.
Depending on the context. These characteristics may include biological sex. They may include biological sex.
This is Wikipedia. We gotta search it on Google.
But it always includes biological sex, though. It can't, within context, or maybe sometimes include biological. Because if you're a female, you're born with, like, female hormones. And if you're a male, you're born with male hormones.
Look.
So that's always going to have something to do with your personality a little bit. The state of being male or female, typically
Simply
used
put,
with reference to social and cultural differences rather than biological ones.
see,
But then it says sex is a synonym. Aha. Either of the two main categories, male and female, into which humans and many other living things are divided on the basis of their reproductive functions.
it's such a hard idea to grasp, like, the difference.
It really is, because gender is something that, like, you construct for yourself a little bit, and then sex is whether you have a penis or a vagina.
So, like, sex, when you're born, you're a man or
Oh.
a male. And then, like, as you grow up, you can say you're like a tiger man. That's your gender.
You
Like,
can be
you're
whatever
part-
you want
you're
now.
part tiger.
apparently. You can be whatever the fuck you want. There's a Steven Crowder. Do you know who Steven Crowder is? You ever heard of him? You should look up some of his. He does Change My Mind on campus. Like, he'll set up a table. It says, change my mind about this.
Here or
And then, well, he does it. I'm not sure where he does it. I think he's in California, maybe. But he'll do, like, he'll say, there's only two genders, change my mind. And then he'll have people sit down and they'll talk about it. And somebody tells him that, with gender, it's constructed, so you can basically be whatever you want to be. And he says, and you should respect whatever the people want to be, so you should call them whatever they want to be. And Steven Crowder goes, okay, so if I identify as a bobcat, will you call me a bobcat? And the guy's like, sure. He's like, if you want to be a bobcat, I can recognize you as a bobcat. And he goes, but I'm not a bobcat. Like, you can see me and you know that I'm not a bobcat.
it's just like a construct, basically.
Yeah, it's all like a mind game. Do you think trans people are like?
Be careful.
What? No, dude.
Aliens?
No, not aliens, but like, I don't want to say that they're sick. I don't want to say that they're like.
Nah, I don't. Like,
Do you think there's something like mentally?
I mean,
wrong?
you could say that, but that's just because it's not like we're not thinking like that. So we could say it's mentally wrong, but to them it's mentally fine, you know?
Right. Yeah.
But I do think like pedosexuals, there's something in their head that makes them think that's okay.
to be attracted to
So
little
I mean,
kids.
yeah,
So that would you consider that like a mental illness?
I would consider that one, but you can't really say a transvestite. There's something wrong with them.
But if you're born a male and you really truly feel like you should have been a female,
Like, that's something I'd say you have to experience it for yourself, but you can't.
Right. I don't know. I can't call it a mental illness because
Yeah, I don't think it is.
no, I don't think it is either. But I think there's something wrong with the way that they see themselves. Something wrong with their identity. You know what I mean? It's like a loss of identity, or somehow they don't feel like themselves from the jump.
Mm-hmm.
like from when they're a little kid all the way up until, they never feel like themselves. I can't imagine what that would feel like, to feel like.
And that's what it is. Like we can't feel it, but they can. So it's like, how can we say that they're wrong when they're the ones that feel it?
Yeah.
So I really do think people do feel like they should be a woman or something.
I think so too. And I mean, it's. So with Jordan Peterson, like, he fought against making laws where you have to force people to call transgender people by their preferred pronoun, not because he hates transgender people, but because he hates the way they would restrict your speech. Like, it's more about freedom of speech than it is the trans people. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And the transgender community just jumped on him and fucking destroyed him, which I think is wrong. I don't think there's anything wrong with being transgender. I just it's hard for me to, like, wrap my head around it.
If you think about it, though, it's also wrong in a way that we tell somebody that they can't be something.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, who is another human to say another human can't say
Right.
he wants to be a woman or something?
Right. That you can't be whatever you feel like you should be.
Yeah. Like, I don't see how that's a political argument, because it's like there's no rule book to say what humans can do or think about themselves.
I think it's mostly the generation, like, above us that thinks that that's not okay.
Yeah, it's definitely our generation.
Because they're so, like, the generation above us they're so traditional that they can't grasp the idea that you can just be whatever you want now.
But what is traditional, though? This shit changes all the time.
That's a good question.
Like, when the shit we're doing now, like, when we're our parents' age, kids are going to be doing shit, and we're going to be, like, doing the same thing. Like, we have no idea what it will be, but...
So you think we'll call our way of life traditional compared to the way that our kids live, even though it's not traditional compared to the way that our parents live?
Just like old heads in hip-hop, they clown these new rappers, but it's like a generational thing.
Yeah,
and the same thing's going to happen when they're older, and over and over and over.
That could be a good segue into the Eminem album.